good.
Want some meatloaf? Meatloaf? Ma! Meatloaf! What's going on, Bad Publicity watchers, tuner-inners? Today we're going to talk about corporations and corporation identities. Which one is the best? Which one is fifth best?
I was going to say the five.
Top five.
Our top five.
You had a stroke there for a second.
Independently.
Sorry, Bad Publicity fans. Is that what we're going with now?
Yeah, so our top five corporations personally, from number 5.
I think I'm going to start it off because I'm going to start a war. So, NBN Making News is number 5. Eat it.
NBN Making News, 2 reoccurring credits. Use these credits during trace attempts.
I should say right now that there's going to be a lot of arguments between us because
why is this your number 5 out of all?
Yeah, you got to
these?
say why. You can't just say
Yeah, not just to be like.
I find it hard to rate them lowest to best, but because then you can't reference any of your other ones. But I don't know. I just think that the other ones are better. I don't know. This
Very
was
well
my
said.
This was my. All right, I have my 4 clear winners, and what's the next thing? And it was just the best one out of the rest of the bunch.
So it came in worst place.
Best of the rest. Oh my goodness. All right, well let's get more people in here.
All right,
Number 5.
my number 5 was Gentechie Personal Evolution.
Whenever an agenda is scored or stolen, do 1 net damage.
Am I allowed to say why?
Yes.
Okay, the reason why I think that they're good is because they do win games, but the reason why they hit my 5th spot and not any higher is that they win games by relying on runners' mistakes.
So
That's not true.
let's
The ability says if you score it.
let's pause there for a second.
So if you score 6 agendas in a turn,
This
you
is
can flatline.
oh, I never thought of that. This is coming up later in other people's lists, possibly. My number 5 is NBN. The World Is Yours. The 40 card.
How that even
12.
made the list blows my mind.
A lot of people
Who?
underestimate this card.
Name them. Name all of them right now.
George, Steve, Franklin.
These are not people. You're just making up names. Don't use the fact that they don't know all our friends against us.
Yeah.
I think this card is not. What am I trying to say here?
Good.
Line? No.
Yeah, it's just say it's bad.
No,
It's
it's
less
good.
words.
Listen,
Less words.
NBN is a very strong. This is a very strong attack deck. I used to discredit people that won by tagging, but you have to put that into perspective. That is part of the game. You have to understand that a lot of people are going to tag you. They're going to burn you with the Scorched Earth combo, and this identity is just a very powerful, in-your-face attack. That's all it's doing. This it can be fast advanced, but it's really tricky. But you're coming out for the juggler with this one.
Is that saying?
Yeah.
Coming out with the juggler.
No, coming out for the juggler.
For the juggler.
Or the juggler.
Or you're coming to see the juggler?
That's the death strike right here. And the NBN, the world is yours, is what? What is the issue?
You say it with such confidence.
You make me
off.
second guess myself. I'm like, was that real? But there's no way it was real.
You're like, come out to see the juggler. It's the Death Star. It's like, was there a juggler in Star Wars?
This is a motherlode right here.
It's Juggler Fett. Raised Boba Fett.
Juggler leader standing by.
Alright, no. You're juggler leader.
Task at hand. What's that?
Hey, you might be.
I'm crying.
So you're saying that because of the animosity that I'm getting here is on no one else's list? Or
No.
we maybe see later on?
It might be on our list, but we're not going to use the idioms you chose. That's for sure.
Okay, listen. NBN, The World Is Yours, is a straight attack deck. I think it deserves the 5th spot. It's good for straight tag and bag.
I don't think it's in anybody else's list, so we'll all chime in here. I agree. I think that it's very solid on what it does. Unfortunately, I think that's the only thing it can do. But maybe in my opinion, I think
Like it has been proven to do fast advance, but it's fast advance that catches people off guard. It's one of those, someone's going into a tournament, one of those low to no ice builds, and people aren't expecting it. And if everything lines up with the Astro scripts and you're just pumping through the agendas quickly that NBN can, it could fast advance, but this is straight an attack agenda.
Yeah.
Or identity. That's number 5's across the board. Number 4.
I'll start. So it was, for me, it's HB guarding the net.
Guarding the net.
Guarding the net.
Guarding the net. Before you taking your first turn, you may install up to 3 pieces of ice with no more than a single piece of ice per server. Draw until you have 5 cards in HQ.
So
looking at a 45-12.
Yep.
I'm surprised that
I built a deck out of it. I took it to the last tournament that we had. I
can't argue with that point.
So and
Well
the thing works. So what I did was, in order to make it sing, I like to build 49 card corp decks just to make sure that the agenda pulls are a little bit less frequent than it would be in a 45. But the deck had 18 ice in it, and so therefore I was generally drawing at least 2 in my opening hand. So it was 2 out, 2 down, and then draw 2 more cards, and then your turn begins, you draw your 6th card, and you're ready to go. And generally you have at least 1 more piece of ice in there to cover up your remote server. So you're starting very, very strong with this identity. And
you don't feel that you're giving your hand away at all? Like, what if you have no ice to play, right? Like, we've talked about...
Then you
TPS
ditch
Vipers.
ditch your hand, man.
There's a lot of times, like, I played TPS Viper a lot when he was playtesting this, and it actually just never really worked. And you know what? I actually didn't notice.
I came second place.
I'm not saying that it's bad, but I never actually noticed that this is actually like next bronze.
Oh, next design.
Yeah, but it's like next, so it's maybe that's
it could have some kind of tie-in, but
which I think the next bronze, silver, if whatever they call them, the next pieces of ice are probably my hands down favorite. I think that's a really cool. Good win. So maybe if it ties in well with that, then
yes, we'll find out.
We'll see. But I think as of right now, I'm shocked because this is a gamble to have in, and usually you're a sure thing unless you're building your deck ice heavy. Right?
I did build the deck ice heavy, but that's the thing is that as long as you set yourself up like that, this has no downside.
This is the Andy version of corp cards.
Yeah, nice big starting hand. So like if you there was some games where I had 3-piece ice to start with, and all 3 went down. It was awesome. Drew back up to 3. Drew my starting card. Had nothing but money cards in my hand after that point. Like there was no way I was losing the game.
Are you missing the?
Oh, with a fast advance build.
Are you missing the 3 influence?
No. I was only actually in that particular deck. I only splashed 3 snares. That's it. Everything else was HB.
Yeah, interesting. My number 4 is the Jinteki Personal Evolution. It goes along the lines of some of the stuff that Corp said before. It's a very strong Jinteki play. I think it is the better of the 2 Jintekis.
Could be argued.
Will be argued. But I don't think it has long game potential. I think Jinteki is a burst at the beginning. That if you can get by the first so many turns, the advantage flips to the runner. And definitely, this is not an advanced agenda build. Jinteki is traps. So you're looking to flatline a runner. Much like I said with the NBN attack, this is another very effective attacking corporation. So it relies on runner mistakes. Like, it can be played around, but the runner has to really be on his game.
Oh, mine's my number 4 is the same card.
Oh, really?
I still think, unfortunately, in our group, in our meta, nobody actually plays this. No. Dave plays it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't think it's don't know, I was disagreeing with what you were saying. I can't even put into words what you were saying. I didn't follow it that much, but
I knew it was wrong.
no, I think that with a deck full of traps, you kind of want people to think twice about scoring a bunch of agendas. You know what I mean? And not to mention, like, you can't just sit there and have one card in your hand anymore. You know what I mean? Because now, with this card, if I score a couple cheap agendas, then I'm actually doing damage and avidly doing damage. There's another agenda that's coming out. It's a 2-for-1, you know, Clone Retirement. Like, that's going to be an easy way to start winning and dealing damage and keeping them pretty low. I think right now, net damage, just like making people discard cards, is probably... I've said it before, too, with the Noise Mill decks. I didn't like Noise Mill before, because I found, like, when the core set came out, everybody kind of had fluff in their deck. You know what I mean? But now, there isn't a card in your deck that you don't absolutely want in your deck. You know what I mean? And in fact, you had to cut other cards that you like to keep those cards in your deck, right? So anytime you're doing damage to somebody, it's still making them discard a card, which could be vital to their game. And then I reference him a lot, but friggin' Hollis built a deck and he won Gen Con. Well, that deck won Gen Con. And I don't know if you guys watched the games played, but it's brutal. Like, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Anybody who watched the Gen Con games, I don't remember his name, but shout out, because you play it phenomenally. I loved watching.
But it was with Personal Evolution.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing that I feel is, like, I don't know if I discredit it a little because I play. Well, I'm not discrediting. I mean, like, how many choices are there in corporations now? And this is
10.
my number 4, right? So I mean, like, I'm not.
I just think that we haven't seen the full potential of it in our group, personally.
Right. I think Jinteki is overlooked. Yeah, not a lot of people other than you have been very pro Jinteki around our game store, but
I just think that the reason why
I think Shaper can defend against this very well, and I think maybe that's why, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you do net damage to me, my cards are.
No, I understand that, and it's getting harder now. It's getting harder, but yeah.
But I do think it's a very powerful. Like, it's my number 4.
Yeah.
Your number 4. I mean, like, out of 10, that's nothing to wink at.
All right, so
Can I say that?
yeah. Number 3 for me is Wayland, Building a Better Future. Does anybody else have that one? Oh, Oh, no.
It's not.
No, so you gain $1 whenever you play a transaction operation.
I just think that Wayland is a solid. I mean, that's just a solid ability. Like, you're never going to be able to not benefit from it. Especially with the transactions coming out. There's a new one. It's going to be 10 for 15. That's a transaction. Now you're gaining just obscene amounts of money off this card, and especially since, I mean, nobody likes to see it, but we all think about it. Pure income tag and bag Wayland decks. This corp just runs it. It's so good. I don't know. It fell in my number 3 spot.
On the flip side of that, my number 3 is Wayland, but it's because we built it. The reoccurring credit that is used to advance ice. A lot of the same reasons. I just feel that Wayland is built up with so much advanced ice. Having this free credit is like, I don't really know what to do on my turn. Advance an ice. Advance it. And then when you're, was it commercialization? Or is that right one? That I've used that crazily to pull $11 off something just because I've been free advancing it.
Yeah, 11, 13, 15, yeah, whatever. Don't shortchange yourself there.
It's not like you still have to pay the click. Like, you're not gaining it for free.
No, but I mean, like,
So when you commercialization the first time, you're not making any money.
off $11, like.
If you've paid 11 clicks to put 11 I mean, granted, you're not paying the $1. You're only making your money back.
But I'm still, I'm not, the only purpose of advancing it is to not.
I understand.
Yeah, it's making the court
I understand
or the runner pay out their nose.
I'm still not a huge fan of commercialization. I think you're gaining your money back. It's not a burst income by any means. In my opinion.
It has to be set up properly, and you're pretty much targeting one specific ice. If you're going for commercialization, you're not really spreading your stuff around when you do it. But I mean, having that free free dollar there to advance. I mean, you're still spending the click, but I don't think there's that many transactions that you're getting the $1 from the transaction all the time.
There's a lot. I think you're overlooking the new HB ones. You know, they're coming out. Like there's a lot, and it's only going to grow.
Yeah, but I'm talking as of right now, right? Like not future potentials. And
I built a Wayland deck, and I think that there's a significant amount. Personally.
The other thing with Wayland, why it ranked in my number 3, is because I think this is the tipping point between my other 2 cards were heavy attacks, and I think Wayland, you do not know which way they're going. They could be going for that Scorched Earth. They could be setting up for a straight agenda advance. You really got to be playing both sides of the coin with Wayland, because at any point they can switch easily and go either way.
That's why I like the 2 factions, NBN and Wayland. You sit down, you kind of have to feel them out for a bit, and then you're like, okay, cool. You know, whereas you play like Genteki, and you're just like, oh, he's gonna do a lot of damage. I'll make sure I have 5 cards.
Yeah, with Genteki you have to prep for it, and you know that it's coming. Like nobody's gonna play Genteki with like trapless, right? Yeah. Like all their good cards are the traps, and you're getting them for free. But Wayland, you don't know what's coming. It's more of a 50-50 split of an agenda advance or a flatline win. Moving along.
Or both, because the flatline win is in faction, so just putting those 3 cards in really doesn't hurt you.
Yeah. So for my number 3 was the same as Hymason's here. It's I appreciate because we built it, because it plays directly to all of the strengths and all of the cards that are within the Wayland faction. So just like what we were saying with the commercialization, you play the first one and then it's the second one that pays itself. Like if you're looking at it that way, then yes, that makes sense. But if you're looking at it in a way where I'm advancing this ice, making it so ridiculously expensive for this R&D lock deck to get through to my R&D every time they want to try it.
No, I understand that.
Right?
I just think that people fall back. I think that everybody's first argument is, oh well, commercialization's out, and that's it becomes where they think that justifies the entire thing. And
no,
I understand.
Fine. You could go through a whole game without seeing a commercialization.
That's a valid point, but I was just saying that commercialization doesn't make that card.
No,
and that card doesn't make commercialization.
No, commercialization just gets rid of basically any second thoughts you'd be having.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right? That's the way I look at it. But this is with Wayland being so. Having so much ice in there that can be advanced, like having that free credit every time to do it, just, you know what I mean? Like, why not, right? It's, I don't know, it really plays to their strengths, and it helps the faction.
But interesting enough, we are, like, the number 3 corporation, I guess, for all of us here is Wayland, right?
I think that's because we all, like, none of us are Wayland players, first off. I mean, we got 2 NBN players and a Genteki player, but we all like doing damage, you know. So like, it's easier to fall back on that and go, yeah, I could see where that would be good. You know what I mean? Whether or not, and you know what, these could be played better than all of our factions. You know what I mean? And that's not what we're saying. We're not saying that we think, but we're just telling you our personal.
Right. Number 2.
You want me to start?
Sure.
So my number 2 was NBN making news.
2 reoccurring credits to use during traces, standard 45-15.
Yep, and the reason being is that again completely caters to what the NBN identity has to offer, what their faction has to offer, because most of their stuff initiates traces. You got some extra credits to do some more traces. That's pretty wicked, and yeah, it's always useful.
I'll jump in this because making news NBN is also my number 2. I think this is an incredible fast advance option. This is built. It could be, you know, Scorched Earth, tag and bag style.
It's either way, which is why I like it.
But it's a little more agenda winning friendly than my Wayland choice, because I think, like I said, I think Wayland is pretty much on the bubble, but this NBN agenda identity can rifle through agendas like there's no tomorrow.
And we're seeing a lot of scary cards that are coming out that
For NBN?
influence.
Yeah.
Well, just trace initiated. You know, we got a couple that are really good, like Invasion of Privacy. I think. I mean, if you guys haven't played it or played against it, it's brutal. Like, even just not to like kill you, just to throw off every once in a while, it's crippling. Very, very crippling.
So, that is my number 2.
My number 2 is HB Engineering the Future. This, I think, is probably, I mean, my disclaimer, is probably, I think, the best overall identity. It fell into my number 2 slot because it falls just short of the actual faction that I play, and I'll explain why I think that's better than this, but I think overall this is probably the bubble, and I think we all kind of, you'll get that with the rest of the feeling, but I won't talk about it too much.
Yeah, so to jump in on that, we can go right to number 1s. My number 1 is Hasbiroid Engineering the Future. I think this is very strong agenda scoring
Do you play Fast Advance?
identity.
Do you play Fast Advance? That's weird. You talk about it a lot.
Well, like I said, I didn't. I was never a tag and bag kind of guy because I kind of discredited that win.
I think
But
Somebody burns you like you didn't win.
you didn't.
we
win.
could just honestly, yeah, we can honestly say that right now. I think when the game came out, there's a couple groups. You know, there's people who really got behind that, and then there's the people who literally thought it was a bad way to play.
Yeah.
You know, and they thought it was too easy, and you're not playing the game. There was the people who said, you know, the game is to advance and steal, and now you're going around it.
But we were wrong. It's the game.
No, it's definitely the
and
game,
that's
yeah.
why, like, I think you can't discredit someone for, you know, flatlining you or whatever it is, tag and bag style, because that's the game. That's the element that's in there.
I think
And
it was Hard
they
Top
got you.
from Card Game DB that was talking about it. I think it was his reference to Scrubs and stuff like that.
I did read it somewhere online, and it was a post, and it was something about I don't know, but paraphrasing, it was something about you shouldn't be crying if you got burned or something.
Yeah.
It's a valid way to win,
Yeah.
and it is. But Engineering the Future for me is just a straight up agenda advancing machine. Early on, it is weak. This is like, let's get middle to late game. You're winning. If this the
Did
core
you say early game it's weak?
early it's weak.
It does get better the longer the game progresses.
Like if you're using that, because Biroid has to build up. You have to get your ice in place
Because
to
you won't
get
get
that
like
stuff.
that dollar. You're not really like it's fine.
I
to
don't
play
I don't
ice
mean
down.
I don't mean
what
the
you mean.
ability is
Yeah.
weak. I mean when you
I
build the
understand.
deck together,
I understand.
it's
I thought you meant
it's
the ability.
no, it's a slow start. So early game, someone can come at you like a very aggressive criminal, and you can just get ripped apart. But once you're set, you're the Rock of Gibraltar. You're not being penetrated there.
See, I got that reference. That was a good reference.
Just followed up by some phrasing. We're good.
So you think the same thing, right?
Yeah, Engineering the Future is, again, it's an identity that plays to all the strengths that HB has, installing tons of great stuff, get that Glacier going, and really, with the agendas that they have, your mandatory upgrades, all that stuff, like you're setting yourself up for pure success when you're playing this one.
It's really hard to argue against this card.
It's really hard to screw up when you're playing this card. That's
you're
long
gonna.
and the short
I
of
mean,
it.
you're not gonna play a game where you don't install cards.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like the NBN one. NBN one's great, but there could theoretically be an NBN deck where you don't really need to trace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That card, it's just like, oh yeah, like the first time you gain $1, like you pay a click to gain $1, you gain another $1.
Right.
It's the same thing. You're always gonna gain money.
Because you could be using this you might like NBN, but go with this because it's higher, influence,
splash, yeah.
right? But along the lines of what you said about it's hard to screw this up, this is the identity that if anyone asks me, hey, I'm picking this game up, what should I try out first, or how to? This is a very good basic learning one that extends beyond basic learning. You can run this very well with tricks and
Yeah.
and
easy
on a very advanced
easy
level.
to learn, difficult to master.
I think we've seen every type of engineering the future build, because we have Vol that plays engineering the future, we have TPS Viper that plays engineering the future, and I mean, when we sit down and build decks, we all work on the decks together, we all play against the deck, so this is, I mean, we threw this identity through the ringer, I think, as a group.
Yeah, and it's lasted,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It came out of the dishwasher unscathed.
Well, it should come out clean, right?
Yeah.
You want it to go into a dish unwasher and come out unscathed. That would be
Do they make those?
dish unwasher.
Dish unwashers?
It's called my house.
So this was your number 2 then, right? So I don't know.
Yep.
Was there anything else you wanted to say? I don't know if you were holding back because you knew it was.
I think he may have been holding something back.
I have a number 1.
Well, I just meant comments on this.
That's I mean, it's just, I have a hard time talking about, you know, really, really good identities, because everybody already knows, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to go through scenarios where you're just like, oh yeah, and if you ever just install on your turn, you'll gain $1. It's good. You know, like, it's hard to talk about why it's good. I think that anybody who
especially in an ice building faction, right?
yeah, like, and then all of your good income cards are asset cards. You know, like, it's just.
Can those be protected with ice?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then when you play those, and then now maybe another thing, and the only thing we didn't actually bring up. Now there's ice that actually lets you install on your opponent's turn. So now you're potentially gaining $2 every turn.
Yeah.
So if you play it right, what's that girl that lets you switch ice?
Princess Bubblegum?
Yes. Genteki Midori. Midori is another way to get that ability off. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it.
Perfect.
So my number 1 is Genteki Replicating Perfection. It's not on any of these guys' list. I'm still the only one in our play group that plays it.
Just before we get started, fun fact, Sly Squid has no mental disability whatsoever. It
could be argued, though.
Continue.
No, I think that I think that with all of these decks, they all play kind of the same, in my opinion. Everybody wants to build lots of ice and keep their stuff protected. Even the factions that want to build lengthwise, just like NBN wants to have a lot of assets down. Hospire wants to have a lot of assets down, but they still want to actually be able to protect them. I think that Replicating Perfection is an entirely different way to play this game, and I think that, like, for somebody like me and all of my friggin' my clones online that we talk about it on the Facebook, I always post Hive Mind at the top of it if I think it has anything to do with Replicating Perfection. If you don't follow us on Facebook, go to Facebook. But, yeah, I think it's just a different way to play, and it's a different type of mentality, and you're playing a game within a game. I keep talking about the Kessia programs, and it's the same sort of thing. It's like, to me, it's a different kind of game, and honestly, I feel more protected when I have 11 servers with no ice, as opposed to having 1 or 2 with 5 ice over it. I feel more protected, because now I'm just like, I feel like I'm giving myself away as soon as I only have like one really good thing. I'm just like, oh, well, he knows my crap is here, right? And he's got all these icebreakers, so he's gonna get through it anyway. To me, it's just like, okay, well, half of these are traps. Have fun. You know what I mean? And if you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. You know? And I feel like...
Is that the way that works?
Yeah. Winning equals winning.
Oh my goodness.
And in case you didn't catch it, losing equals this thing.
No, don't you feel like you're putting the onus on the runner then?
Yeah, at first, yeah, and then they like Ronin really makes it so, originally a lot of people would just avoid playing that game, and then they introduced Ronin to the trap or to the mix, and now you're just like, okay, well, that card has three advancement tokens on it. Originally, before Ronin came out, people would just be like, well, he hasn't scored it yet, so it must be a June bug, and I mean, there's obviously scenarios where it's not a June bug. Fetal AIs are a great thing to just sit there until you're ready to score them, but now you have to sit back and go, oh, well, that's a Ronin. He could deal 3 damage to me next turn. Or crap, he's got 2 cards with 4 advancement tokens on them. Are they agendas? Are they traps? Are they June bugs? Are they Ronins? Is he going to kill me next turn? You know, I am going to go, and I've already said that I think engineering the future is probably the best. And I'm going to say right now that I don't think that this is probably... I don't think that it actually is as good as maybe all of these. I think that in the right hands, this becomes very popular, and that's why I advocate this faction a lot, because I think it suits my playstyle. And you guys play against me. Like, you can't say I don't win games.
No, it's a good.
Yeah,
it's
you have luck against other people.
It's a good mix.
I can't beat Corpse for the life of me, but
now he can run on me. He can run on me, but I can run on him.
It's. I think that it's a fun faction.
It'll be interesting to see what's coming for it. How you adapt this style.
The 2-for-1's going to be huge. It's going to be awesome because you'll be able just to rip one off to get them antsy. Oh, bro, I got to get in there now.
I'm still not sure on that.
You could have some teeth with it as this cycle of packs goes through.
I think once we get some more solid damaging ice, and I can stop spending all my influence on actual ice, I think it's going to be good. But I mean, that's the argument that every Gen Techie player has.
Right.
I'm a Gen Techie player, but at the end of the day, I'm literally a shell game player. I like the shell game aspect. This is the shell game faction.
And that's why
it's my number one. And I think that if you like playing like me, and you like maybe having fun with, in my opinion, a competitive style, then this would be...
So there's very interesting lists. You had 2 Gen Techies.
Yeah.
I had 2 NBNs. You had 2 HBs. Mm-hmm. Let's do some quick thoughts on ones that didn't make anyone's list. Haas Biroid Stronger Together. All Biroid ice has +1 strength.
I would say this would be my 6th if I was to pick.
Yeah. Surprised though, like what this one here with the amount of Biroid ice that's coming out now.
Yeah, it's useful. It's good, but it's just not. It's not quite there yet.
No, I agree. You might see it trickle in later on.
Yeah, maybe once admins fall off the board.
I think what you were talking about with the next series.
That's what I think. I think the next series of ice is just gonna, and now I don't mean next. I mean
yeah.
capital next. I mean like the next bronze.
Next bronze.
They all get bigger and more scary.
But they're not Bioroids though, are they?
No, you can't click
so
through
they won't
them.
work with this one.
No, they are in.
No, that's
HB faction.
Yeah,
but they're not Biroid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that those, like the prospect of those ice makes this card just like, I don't like the Biroids personally. I think the Biroids are, I play a faction where, like Femme Fatale, it like runs my deck, so it's like, oh, you got one really cool, hard to break through ice, throw Femme Fatale on it, and I'll pay the rest of my clicks to do it. And you know what I mean? Now there's things like,
just clicking through those strong ice, it just
yeah, and that's why I run Doppelganger and Josh Massenrani, because now I'm making that run, I'm paying all my clicks, I'm getting an additional run and a cart. So, I mean, I've played against Haas Biroid. That's my primary corp that I play against, and I don't know, I don't like the Biroid.
Interesting. Next up was 2 of them from Creation and Control. Custom Biotics. You cannot include Jinteki in this deck. 45-22. I mean, we know why you wouldn't touch it.
I think it's a valid deck because, I mean, you're turning into a fast advance deck.
Yeah, you're going heavy fast advance, no traps.
Or tag and bag.
Yeah.
I think
pure tag and bag.
I think the
it's lots of money.
I think the downfall of this is you already know like 1/3 of what's not going to be in there, right? There's no surprise.
I think it's pretty safe to say we don't like any pigeonholing decks. I think if the deck pigeonholes you, we just kind of get...
Yeah, if it does, you have to win every time, because then it's worth it. But if you get pigeonholed into style of play, a good player will always best you.
Last but not least, Cerebral Imaging. Your maximum hand size is equal to the number of credits.
Maybe
allow
there's
me.
a trick.
Allow me.
Yeah, maybe there's something coming out for this.
There will be eventually, and I mean it could be good protection against.
I thought you would have gone the other way. Like you like the controversy, you'll be like, I guarantee nothing will be ever beneficial for that.
I like controversy. I put replicating perfection as number 1 on a top 5 list of identities.
I
This
think
will make it around.
cerebral imaging, it's interesting. I don't want to talk bad about it.
It can be too easily hurt.
I
as things
play
stand.
heavy denial. So your maximum hand size is going to be 3.
Yeah.
On average.
account siphons.
And now you have to, and that's assuming that you're going to pay your whole turn to draw,
get
to
back
gain
up to 5,
3.
yeah.
And now you're drawing cards. Like, it's just, oh my god. I understand that
something will be
Hospire
coming.
has a lot of
Something
money.
will be coming. Fantasy Flight always has something up the.
Let us know what your top 5 are. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up down in the likes and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet.
Yeah, do that.
And man, what else can you do? Comment? Did we say that? Anything you can do, just start clicking around the screen and see what happens.
Do a barrel roll.
Do we have one of those things where they click your face?
No.
Click its face repeatedly.
Hey, guys, and if you list your top 5 where you'd put them, just make sure you put beside there like why you'd put them there, right? So that people don't flame you. But it'd be really cool to see because I mean,
we had a lot of good.
Top 5s are pretty fluid. They move around, right?
Yeah. So we'll see where these agendas stand down the road. Or why do I keep saying agendas? Identities. I got agendas on the brain.
You're an idiot.
I'm a fast advancer.
Fun fact: Jameson has no mental disability whatsoever. 2 times, same joke.
For the record, you do?
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys.
Very well.
Yeah, definitely drop your top 5s down below. And
Hit that button, Eeyore.
tune in next time. Make your brain.
Throw them up. Doomsday! Only Magic the Gathering players will get that reference.
You got like 15 of each one.
No, it's Chaos Confetti.
Wasn't it called Doomsday?
It was Doomsday, but then the unglued one was Chaos Confetti.
Oh.
And it actually, the wording was what the dude did from Doomsday.
Oh yeah, the Doomsday one. That was just.
No, it wasn't Doomsday either. Doomsday was a different one.
This is way over.
No, it was. I think you
No,
shred it.
Doomsday you
guy's
paid
card.
3 and it did something.
There was a card in Magic that
There
you
was a-
ripped the card in.
No, there
No,
was
no,
a
there's
card,
a card
where,
that
there was
said-
a card in Magic that said, like, basically you have to hold it 3 feet over the table and drop it, and any card it touches is removed from the game. So this dude had a stack of them in his pocket, and he would tear them up into pieces
And then
just
confetti them across
spread
the
it over,
table.
and like literally remove all of your shit from the game, even your lands and shit. And then fucking he had a whole box. They were like $75 a card too.
And that
This footage is almost unusable now.
and that wasn't for like, was that a major tournament or something?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
at a
yeah,
legitimate tournament. And then they created the unglued card, which was Chaos.
And they made because they make fun sets every once in a while.
Yeah.
They made a fun set where that's what you did with the card.
There was a sealed of that, eh?
Was there? That would have been fun.
There's 2 sets. There's unglued and unglued 2.
No, it's
And there's
unhinged is the second one.
Unhinged.
Yeah.
There's 2. I would have loved to try that.
Heirloom Minotaur. Denim walk.
No, Harloon Wrangler.
Was it Wrangler or
Yeah,
was
yeah,
Wrangler?
Denim walk.
Denim walk.
If your opponent has denim, you can't be blocked.